And welcome back to the Sports Zone. Doug Garner helping coach the Warrior games, the Wounded Warriors. That'll take place in Colorado Springs. It's year number 2. And Doug, you were telling me that the Army has a little incentive because of the Marine Corps winning last year's game. You don't have to tell these guys what's at stake.
Right, the Army guys are really fired up. I did some things after the team was selected, I sent some things out. And one thing I asked them, what do you want to get out of this practice, at this camp, getting ready? And one of them said, a couple of them said, I want to get ready to beat the Marines. So they're really, really wanting a little bit of payback.
When does it get down to the intricate parts of the basketball game itself? You haven't worked with these guys for a couple of years, so there's a little bit of a give and take, is there not?
There will be, and that's one of the good things about our guys coming in and working with the soldiers while they're here on campus, because they can help break it down at an athlete level for the guys. And we've had 7 or 8 of our athletes come in, and some of the Dallas guys come in, and so a lot of individual attention that I hope will accelerate the learning curve a little bit as we get ready to go to Colorado.
What guys have you relied on?
Well, Jay Helms is great. He was a UTA moving Mav. Aaron Gouge, a UTA moving Mav. Tyler Garner, so they've been great. They all got their degree here at UTA and still play on the community team. They won a national championship last week in the community division, and so I rely a lot on them. They're all on the USA national team, so I rely a lot on them and their experience to come in and communicate with the guys.
Before you got involved in the Wounded Warriors, what did you know about the program itself?
I didn't know a lot other than what I'd heard through the media. We're a Paralympic sport club here at UTA, so we work with U.S. Paralympics, and I knew U.S. Paralympics had partnered on quite a few projects with the Department of the Defense. And it's been great for U.S. Paralympics in developing talent, elite talent in a lot of different sports, and it's been great for the Department of Defense in providing a rehab program for a lot of these soldiers who would rather go play basketball than sit and lift weights. So this is part of their rehab, part of their transition back to civilian life and getting a job and everything else.
Do you expect these guys to continue to play from time to time after the games are completed?
Once they find basketball, they'll play. A couple of them are talking about coming to UTA and playing here. A lot of them have gotten hooked up with community teams, so it's given them a healthy avenue to go back out and participate in community events and stay healthy and avoid some of the secondary conditions that happen when people don't have sports and physical activity to participate in.
Nationally, how many community games or community teams are there?
In the NWBA, we had 86 junior teams this year, and there were about 190-something men's teams, and then another 9 or 10 women's teams. So it's pretty spread out, but they're out there. And a lot of these teams, to get good players with experience, they'll help them find jobs. They'll say, we want you to live in our community. We'll find you a job. That way you're legal to play on our team. So it's really cool, and it benefits everybody. And then they meet the competitive avenue that a lot of these guys really want.
Finally, can you see some of the Wounded Warriors for the first time building a friendship with a teammate that they may not have even met before last year?
Oh, sure, yeah. The camaraderie part, the social part is very big also. It's great to have an outlet that you can share an experience with somebody who's like you. So they meet other people and they talk not only basketball, but they talk about dealing with disability. They talk about dealing with the prosthetics and the wheelchair and things like that. So they really develop friendships, and they start saying, hey, if you and I get together, we can both go to Seattle and we can play for that team together and things like that. So it's really cool to see them become friends and know each other long term as well.
So it is an army of one, so to speak.
So to speak, it is, yep, and that's really cool.
Doug, how many Army teams are there?
For the WTU games, Army will have one team, the Marines will have a team, the Navy will have a team, and I believe the Air Force and Coast Guard have combined for a team. So there'll be 4 at the national tournament.
Is their training period, has it been about the same before they go into the championships?
I'm not sure what the other teams are doing as far as their training. I know the Marines trained last year and kind of took some of the other teams by surprise. So the Army has looked at it and said, this is athlete development, this is helping our soldiers, and we're going to do more for them this year to help them prepare for the games.
These guys, having served their country, do you find the discipline and maybe their train of thoughts, how they approach what they're doing now, different than an incoming freshman you'll see from another part of the country?
Yeah, in a way, they are more mature when they approach that. For the guys that are in the WTU units, this is their job. Their job is to get up every day and to rehab and to train. And so they use sport as their job, which is really cool. For a lot of people would love to do that, wake up every day and train for sport. So the work ethic is there. As you can see, they got hands taped. Nobody's complaining to me about anything. They're glad to be here, and they're glad to be pushing hard, and they're glad to be learning the sport of wheelchair basketball.
Doug, you've had success here at UT Arlington, continued success, and good luck with the Army in Colorado Springs.
Thank you. It's going to be a lot of fun, and our plans to take the gold at the Warrior Transition Games.
Very good. Let's talk with Delvin Maston of the Army National Team. Delvin, how has basketball helped your overhaul rehab process?
Kind of allowed me to get back to doing some of the things that I was used to doing before being injured. And it helps me with my therapeutic ways of sports, because sports is kind of where I used to get away from everything and all the hustle and bustle every day. I just let all my frustrations out playing ball, and this gives me an opportunity to do that again.
You played high school basketball. You played college basketball, is that right, in North Carolina?
Yes, sir. I played 4 years of high school basketball in Birmingham, Alabama, and 3 years of college basketball in North Carolina. And it was a great experience before joining the military, and just was very fortunate to be around some people to teach me the right way to play the game and help me receive some good education while in the process of playing.
Delvin, where were you wounded and what is your unit?
My unit is 101st, 2nd Brigade, 101st Airborne at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I was wounded in Baghdad, Iraq.
What about your teammates? Have you formed kind of a close relationship with some of the guys that you had never met before?
Yes, sir. It's kind of funny that everywhere that you go, basketball kind of bring people together. You know, you can go into a gym and everybody seems to find that equal medium when they're playing basketball. So it's the same thing when it comes to us. It's just that it's a little bit unique the way that we play, and the community is so small that we really don't have a choice but to seem to be together and have good camaraderie. That's what the military has taught us, and basketball ties right into that.
Okay, what's it going to take for the Army to beat the Marines that won the event last year?
A lot of teamwork. I mean, a lot of the guys that knew how to play wheelchair basketball didn't show up to the games last year, and the Marines were well prepared. And even in battle, you know that preparation is everything, because if you don't prepare for anything, you'll lose. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If we didn't prepare for this interview, it'll probably be pretty bad, you know. So, you know, preparation is everything, and it's just not beating the Marines, but it's probably getting past the other branches of service too, because I'm pretty sure they've gotten better over the time with their talent and starting to make people get out here and recognize that there's other ways to rehab through sports. So it should be a pretty good competition coming up.
How have practices gone here?
It's very smooth, and it kind of puts me back in the feel of back in school. Coach Doug Gardner is a very personal coach, and he gets right up in right personal with you and lets you know exactly how it feels, and he explains to you the right way and the correct way to play basketball. And he also sets a good example of a human being to follow, so it makes it all good for us.
Delvin, appreciate your service to the country. Good luck to you.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Lester Perez is a point guard for the Army National Team. Lester, how has wheelchair basketball assisted you in the overall rehab?
It assisted me greatly. When I first got injured, I was wheelchair bound, so I wasn't really getting out much. I didn't know how I was going to react or interact with other people again after my injuries. But then the socializing and then getting to know other injured soldiers helped me out a lot.
How have practices gone here? What did you expect?
Well, I didn't expect it to be that tough, but it is. It's pretty hard getting used to the wheelchair, because first you have to admit that you're injured, you have to accept it, and it's pretty hard for a lot of people. Like at first for me, I didn't want to try it out, but then eventually I came out because other soldiers were doing it too. They told me that it was pretty fun. It helps out a lot mentally and physically, so it got me back out there playing sports. So yeah, that's why I came down here.
What unit were you with and where were you injured?
I was injured in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. I was with the 5th Brigade, 5th Striker Brigade.
I know the Army likes to finish strong, and some of these practices can go on. The altitude might be a little bit of a change in Colorado as well.
Yes, it is. If we're not used to the altitude, it will be challenging at first, but we're going there early, we're going to practice, and we're going to try to acclimatize, and hopefully we'll be ready by the games.
Lester, what are your plans after the games in Colorado Springs?
After the games, I'll be back to Fort Lewis. Eventually, once I get out of the Army, I am going to try to join the team here in UTA and play for UTA and get better and play more games in the wheelchair basketball community.
Lester, best of luck to you. We thank you and appreciate your service to the country.
Thank you.
The 2011 Warrior Games took place while we were editing this edition of the Sports Zone. Coach Doug Garner and the Army team dominated their competition, going undefeated in the tournament. They finished by beating the Marine team 44-19 for the second time. This year they take home the gold. Congratulations to the Army Warrior team, Coach Doug Garner, and thanks to the UTA Moving Mavs for their assistance.